पर्जन्यात् अन्न संभवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञ कर्म समुद्भवः. Lord Krishna is telling here the cycle. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Due to grains, living entities subsist. Living entities live due to grains, or anna can also refer to food. Due to food or grains, living entities are possible. Their life is possible. Anna or the food is possible due to the rains. Parjanya. Parjanya is the name of the father of Nand Baba. Sorry, yeah, Parjanya. Father of Nand Baba is, his name is also Parjanya. Yagyat bhavati Parjanya. And the rain becomes possible due to performing sacrifices. This section Krishna is talking about Karma Kand. And Yagya Karma Samudbhava. That Yagya is possible by performing the duties. Or, in other words, our duties include Yagya also. We'll discuss this. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of Yagya, and Yagya is one of prescribed duties. So these two verses are there. We will see together. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmad sarvagatam brahma nityam yagye pratishtitam. So the last verse ended with karma, yagya karma samudbhavam. Karma comes due to Brahma Udbhavam, is due to the Vedas. The Vedas tell how this karma should be performed. And from where does the Vedas come? Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. The Vedas come from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is present in always presenting acts of sacrifice. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Okay, so let us see these two verses together. So, okay, fine. So I'll just show you the cycle. So this is the cycle. Yes. So from here, yeah, annad bhavanti bhutan. By eating grains, living entities are possible. And then, if the living entities they take birth, then they grow up and they read the Vedas. And by reading the Vedas, they perform the karma. And one of the aspects of karma is duties towards demigods, to a Supreme Lord, that is yagya. Then they do yagya, and due to yagya, rains come. And due to rains, food grains are produced. So this is a cycle. So what is the role of demigods here? The role of demigods is to provide us rains. That is the part done by the demigods, Parjanya. What is the role of human beings? The role of human beings is to do yagya. We are supposed to do yagya. So when we do this yagya, then demigods will give us rain. In earlier verses, Lord Krishna talked about this when he said, that Lord of all sacrifices, from this verses, from verses 9 onwards, he told that starting in the creation, Sahagya praja srishta purovacha prajapati anena prashavishaddham E.A.S.Y. In the beginning of the creation, Lord sent men and demigods, and they said that due to this yagya, you may get all your necessities fulfilled. That is the system by the Lord of. And then if you do yagya for the demigods, then demigods will give you rain. And due to mutual cooperation, there will be shreya, or ultimate benefit, for everyone. And but if demigods give rain and one does not perform yagya, He's a thief. And not only is a thief, he does not offer the food, then he is eating only sin. So that cycle the Lord is telling here now. So here, living body substance food grains. Okay, fine. Baldev Vidyabhushan, great comment. So Gita has a great comment. It's Baldev Vidyabhushan. Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Thakur, Supreme Lord Yajna Purush. So Supreme from Supreme Lord, what all things come? Everything actually comes from Supreme Lord only, directly or indirectly. And through this whole cycle, what actually happens is we are able to please the Supreme Lord. Because when we take shelter of the Vedas, then we at least accept some authority, of the demigods, and also when we do yajna, then we gradually realize that I'm not this body. I exist after the death of this body. So one gradually starts coming to the spiritual platform. Prabhupada is saying here, when there is epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such epidemic. What is the epidemic disease? Material consciousness. If we offer the food to the Supreme Lord, then we will be immunized from material sense, material affinity, or material consciousness. We will be free. But if one does not offer, he is not doing. He is increasing the epidemic disease. So if you don't offer food to Vishnu, then remember your material consciousness will increase, and that will attack you. That's the point. Yes. And one who is immunized by accepting Shadam of the Lord, food offered to Vishnu, is saved from the attack. Whereas one who does not do so becomes subjected to contamination. Example is given of Ajamil. Ajamil was such a pure-hearted person, but he became such a degraded person. One main reason attributed is he was eating from the hand of prostitute. That food was not prasad. So if we eat something which is not prasad, then spiritual consciousness is very difficult to get. So Lord can be satisfied by sacrifice. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. That is the law of nature. Yajna, specifically the Sankirtan Yajna prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from the scarcity of food supply. So like it's not an optional thing to perform sacrifice. It's compulsory. If you don't perform yajna, then we will be in scarcity. Now people may say, so what are you saying? Some people nowadays they compare with animals also. They may say animals are not performing sacrifice. Why should you perform sacrifice? So, but animals don't do many more things also, which we are supposed to do. Suppose a traffic light is there, red light is there, a donkey is walking, and some young boy is there, he's driving the bike, and says, "Hey, chalo, red signal, no problem. This donkey is going. I will also go." So he also red signal crosses, and immediately the traffic police blows the whistle, "Stop, stop, stop, stop!" Then gives him fine. You have to pay 10,000 rupees. Hey, why you are fining me? The donkey walked. You did not fine him. Why you are fining me? Why I am fining you? Because you are a bigger donkey. Why you are a bigger donkey? Because the donkey is not having higher intelligence to see the red light. That there is a system here, but you are a bigger donkey because you know there is a system of red light and still you are breaking it. Therefore, you must pay fine. So not that you compare with animals. No, animals are not required to do that. Similarly, animals don't have spiritual duties. Regarding material duties, like we are not in any way minimizing the efforts of the parents which they have put us in bringing us to this level where we are and raising us, growing us up. But actually, material duties are done by animals also. They also take care of their children very nicely, and educate them materially, how to take care of body, all necessities they try to their best. In human beings, parents, they are also supposed to educate the children in the Vedas so that the children can learn to perform sacrifices. When we perform sacrifices, then we will grow, everything will come to us. Which the Lord must perform this. It's not option for us to perform. Okay, somebody don't know. We only have to. If you don't perform sacrifice, even rain will also not come. Rain will not come, then what will happen is scarcity. If there is anything very scarce, if there is only rice available for the 40 crore people, but the population is 150 crore, then what is going to happen? Price increase. Cost of living is so much increased. And then we have to work for first 9 hours, then 12 hours, then 14 hours, 16 hours. For society as for the Supreme Lord. Agna Prahu Vrishtir Annam Tata Praja Agna Prastahuti Samyak. When we perform oblation to the fire, Aditya Muktish Aditya Jayate Vrishti. Due to sun god comes rain. From the rain arises food, and from food arises progeny. So one more point here is now modern people we have discussed in some detail here, but little bit more needs to be said. Uh, uh, that now, if you tell to the scientist or the modern people that the demigod will give rain, they are not going to accept. They are aware these demigods are giving rain. They have their own explanation. There is a ocean, and the sun is you know absorbing water in the form of water vapor from the ocean, and the clouds are formed, and the clouds due to wind travel to some place, and when their certain PVT is arranged, and then the cloud pour down the rain. Therefore, the rain comes. Where is Indra? Where is the sun god? Where is the question of Yagya? So, how to understand this? So, the model which is given by the scientist, the explanation, that is a mechanistic model, which is not wrong, but which is not complete. How it is not wrong and not complete? Uh, let's try to understand with the help of billiards. There's a game which is called billiards, and that game, what happens is like there's a long rectangular table, and in the four corners there are holes, and there are different color balls. Put the ball inside the hole. So that's the billiards game. Just imagine if somebody is watching the billiards game through the camera on a screen, and the camera is focusing only on the billiards board. What he's going to see? He's just going to see some stick is hitting the ball, and then the ball is hitting other ball or whatever mechanistic theory, and then the balls go inside the hole. So that theory is complete and perfect. Only problem is that theory does not include who is aiming the stick where. That players are out of that camera. So in the Vedic conception, the Vedic explanation of things is not contradictory to the scientific explanation of things, but it is a more holistic understanding. Yes, the water vapor is caused due to the sun, and the clouds due to certain pressure in some place, they go there. But who is creating the pressure in those places, that is not known to today's people. That is done by the higher administration of the demigods. Anyways, let's ask them, you please, my dear sir, you please try to create a cloud. Can you replicate this system? What the Supreme Lord is doing? Can you try to replicate? If they try to replicate the system, the sun absorbing the clouds moving to certain place and then raining down, It's mind-boggling. How does it happen? It's not even conceivable of to just try to do it in some way. They can also do that. They can like put water vapor. They can heat a boiler, use something boiler, just ocean water. They can bring great quantities, just heat in, just like in heating furnace, and cloud should go up and pour down. It doesn't happen like that. It's not so easy. It's a big mechanism done by the demigods where rain will happen, and sometimes like cloud like bursts also. So all things have to be taken into consideration, and it's like the whole cloud is a unlimited tanker, maybe 5 lakh liters or 50 lakh liters water, and which is not only air proof, it is aircraft proof. Is there any tanker device which is aircraft proof? Aircraft can go through the cloud, and yet the cloud is unaffected at all. It's still there. So it's a very miraculous technology. It only appears very easy to like, okay, yeah, it's such a simple thing. It's not such a simple thing. Try to ask them, try the scientists who try to reproduce the system. If it is such an easy thing, not so easy. Therefore, demigods do play a role. So the Vedic conception of life is over and above the mechanistic conception of life explained by the scientists. Their vision of life is not wrong, but it is not complete. Science is also neither wrong or right, but it's simply a way of looking at things. And there are even higher explanation for the things which occur. Just like they say, some child is born. Why this child is having some disease? Genetic. It is coming from his father. His grandfather was having TB. His father was having TB. Therefore, he is having TB. Although this is not wrong, the genes are transforming, but who has placed that soul in that father's lineage? That is not known to the modern. That soul was already having the karma of getting TB. Therefore, the material nature has placed him very carefully in a particular place. This higher understanding they don't. So their understanding is not wrong, but it is not complete. So you have to see things like that. Science is simply a map, the way you perceive it. But the conclusion which they give due to that, that's wrong. Just like they may say that it's father's mistake. That's not father's mistake. You have some genetic problem, it's not your father's mistake. It's not your father's karma, it is your karma only. You did a particular karma, therefore you had to come in a particular family. Okay. This is the second verse. Karma Brahma Udbhavam. So karma is prescribed in the Vedas. Brahma here refers to the Vedas. The scriptures which talk of transcendence. Brahma is transcendence, non-material, eternal. Udbhavam. Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. The Vedas come from the Supreme Lord. The Vedas are therefore codes of working conduct. We have to work or do anything due to the Vedas. And anything performed without the direction of the Vedas is called vikarma or unauthorized sinful work. We will come to this shortly. Sinful work. Therefore, one should always take direction from the Vedas to be saved from the reaction of work. From what we are already doing, we are getting some reaction. If you want to be free from the reaction, we should take help of Vedas. So he is quoting here from the Brahad Aranyaka Upanishad 4:5-11. Asya mahato bhutasya nishwasitam. Mahato bhutasya, that the Supreme Lord, nishwasitam, breathing, etad came yad. Rigvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samvedaha, Atharvangirasaha. Four Vedas, namely the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samveda, and Atharveda, are all emanations from the breathing of the great personality of God. So the Supreme Lord can do anything by any sense. So therefore, Vedas have come from the Supreme Lord. Okay. Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's perverted desires, then return to Godhead after having finished his so-called enjoyment. Predicament of the living entity is that he wants to go back to Godhead, but he has material desires. Therefore, the Karma Kanda section is there. You have material desires, you fulfill them properly through the Vedas. Don't try to fulfill your material desires by going outside the scope of the Vedas, because that will lead misery in present as well as in the future. So therefore, karma kand is also required. So one more important point here is Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. Brahma can also refer to the Lord, and Akshar can also refer to the Vedas, the infallible. So the Supreme Lord is inaccessible. The whole cycle was accessible. We see the food, anna, grains, and we see the living entities, we see the Vedas, we see the Yajna performance, we see the rains. But the entire cycle, the Lord is not visible. The Lord is not visible in the cycle, and therefore the Lord is made accessible by the Vedas. So there is no way to know the Lord except through the Vedic literatures. So if you want to know the Lord who is otherwise inaccessible, you have to take shelter of the Vedas. Brahma Akshar Samudbhavam. Tasmad Sarvagatam Brahma Nityam Yaggi Pratishtham. Therefore, Sarvagatam, one who is the Supreme Lord, who is all providing, Nityam Yagye Pratishtitam. In the Vedic sacrifice or through performing sacrifice, you can see the Supreme Lord. If you want to see the Supreme Lord, you perform sacrifice. By performing sacrifice, you can see the Supreme Lord. There is no other way. So if at all you want to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, better you read the Vedas and perform sacrifices. This is the only method to know the Supreme. Okay. And then Lord says here, if one does not do the sacrifice, evam pravartitam chakram na anuvartayati iha aghalu indriyaramaha mogham partha sajivati. Evam, this pravartitam, this is a chakram, this is a cycle established by the Vedas. Na anuvartayati iha. One who does not follow this, one who does not adopt this, what happens is agha ayuhu. His ayu, his life is full of agha or sins. His life is full of sins. And he is simply engaged for indriya aram. He is doing actions only for the satisfaction of the senses. And mogham, his jivati, his life, partha, O Arjun, is waste. Mogh word will come many other times in the Gita. Moghasha, mogh karma. So his life is waste. If he does not perform this cycle, he does not complete the cycle. Demigods are already giving rain. If he does not perform yajna to the demigods, then his life is in vain. My dear Arjun, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. Srila Prabhupada is saying, man's philosophy of work hard and enjoy sense gratification is condemned herein by the Lord. For those who want to enjoy this material world, above mentioned cycle of performing yajna is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulation is living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. So either we should do karma yoga, jnana yoga, or bhakti yoga. Prosperity of the world depends not on our own efforts, but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord directly carried out by the demigods. So we have to understand that we are not alone in this world. I'm, maker of my destiny. I don't care for anyone. No, you take so many supplies from the nature. You take food. You have not created food. You take air. You take water. You are dependent on nature. You are dependent on demigods. You have to do something for them. You are obliged. You are a debtor. You have taken loan. If you don't repay the loan, you will have to suffer. Therefore, the human society is suffering because they are having taken lot of loan. If by performing yajna one does not become Krishna conscious, however, Prabhupada, if you simply perform yajna does not perform Krishna consciousness, then such principles are counted as only moral codes. One should therefore limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. The cycle is the Supreme Lord gives the Vedas. Vedas prescribe action, and one of the actions material and then spiritual is sacrifice. Due to sacrifice, rain comes. Due to rain, food grains are produced, and when food grains are produced, then new living entities are produced. It's the duty of the old living entities, the parents, to teach their sons and daughters to read the Vedas and then perform action, perform sacrifice, and then the cycle can continue. New living entities then study the Vedas arising from the Lord, perform action and sacrifice. Okay. So yeah, Aghayu Indriyaram Mogam Parsit. So even we have sense desires, we can get them fulfilled, but through the authorized methods given in the Vedas. You see, even it's not that the demigods, they are not having sense gratification. Lord Indra is also having so many apsaras, but that is not considered irreligious. Whereas asuras, they 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 want to do sense gratification, that is illegal. Why? Because the demigods, they follow the Lord. Whereas the demons, the asuras, they, without caring for any authority, without caring for the Vedas, they want to enjoy independent. Sense gratification is not denied. Lord Indra is not blamed or condemned. He is a very respectable person. He is in charge of the whole universe. And even though he has sense gratification desires, even if you have desires for sense gratification, there is a proper way in which you do sense gratification. There is one more point here to mention about the agha, and that is the difference between sin and crime. So, crime refers to what is known as criminal or punishable in the modern democratic or whatever state government, central government, what is considered crime. And sin is uh, something which is considered punishable by the Vedas through the system of the Supreme Lord. So in the Satyug, Dwapar Yuga, and Treta Yuga, the IPC was directly the Vedas. There was no need of separate IPC, and therefore the sin and the crime were same. But now at the modern times, because of divorce, there is a divorce between the sin and the crime. Just like abortion. Abortion is considered legal in the modern governments, and they are keep on increasing the dates. But it's a sin according to the Vedas. Prabhupada would say that cow killing and the abortion, they are the two most grievous sins in the modern society, due to which a lot of reaction we are getting. Similarly, alcohol, that is not considered criminal. You will not be put in jail for consuming alcohol, but that's considered criminal in the Vedas. And so therefore, the word used here is similarly, adultery is also no longer a crime. Earlier it was a crime, but now they have removed adultery from crime. So agha, you have to understand what is agha, sins. Not only that which is okay, I'm not criminally responsible, or can you sue me in the law court, but we have to clearly know from the Vedas what sins are, and we should avoid them. Yeah. And the verse 17 onwards starts with the next theme. Yasto atmartirev syat atmatriptascha manavah atmaevanya cha santushta tasya karyam na vridyati. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. But one who is Atmaritir Syat, he is not looking for happiness in the outside world. Think over it. For whom this talk is being, for whom this verse is applicable, one who is not looking for happiness outside through engaging the senses and the sense objects. Atmarativ Esya, he is deriving pleasure inwards. Atmatriptascha mano, who is satisfied in the self. Atmanyeva cha santushtaha, tasya karyam na vidyat. For him there is no duty. By saying here, person who is fully Krishna consciousness and fully satisfied by his acts in Krishna consciousness no longer has any duty to perform. Due to his being Krishna conscious, all impiety within is instantly cleansed, an effect of many, many thousands of yajna performances. Krishna consciousness is equal to many, many thousands of yajna performances. So Karma Kanda was saying you to perform yajna. Somebody Krishna consciousness is like thousands and lakhs of sacrifices are immediately performed by chanting one day nicely. By such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position relationship to Supreme. His duty becomes self-illuminated. So it's not that he is no duty, but his duty is directly given by the Supreme Lord. One who has become Krishna conscious. Lord inspires him to do actions. He is not motivated by desires in this world. That is a higher step above the karma yogi. Such a Krishna conscious person is no longer interested in material activities and no longer takes place in material arrangements like wine, woman, and similar infatuations. नैव तस्य कृते नार्थो न कृते नेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चित् अर्थव्यपाश्रयः. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill and discharge his duties. No longer he has any reason not to perform such work. Nor he has any need to depend on any other living. So now this person is not having duty to the demigods. Why this person is not doing duty to the demigods? Because he does not want any sense gratification. He is living for the purpose of for satisfying the Supreme Lord. He is already satisfying the Supreme Lord within. Therefore, he does not need to perform yajnas to please the demigods. Of course, he will do acts to please the Lord because he is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. Self-realized man has no purpose to put in the discharge of prescribed duties. And Krishna is turning other point around. So Arjun, if you think that you have no need to perform duties, there is no reason why you should not perform duties also. He has no reason to perform duties, and also he has no reason to not perform duties. Are you understanding? So Krishna, like Arjun is saying, I am detached. I need not fight. So Krishna is saying, you are detached. Why you should not fight? You have no reason even to whether not to fight or to fight. You can fight also because like for you does not matter. For this person, he can fight also, he cannot fight also. Both the cases. So like that, he's satisfied. One more thing I just wanted to mention here is Agha, you be very careful with this one, that we should not do this thing abortion and this thing, very cold-blooded murder and due to sense gratification, people are involved in these kind of activities and very let me show you. Yeah.
All right, a little to the left, angle down just slightly. That's better.
Weaker. Hold
I'm
still.
Stay still.
Hold my arm, but you can't wiggle it. Get it done, don't you? Deep breath.
Just hold the probe in place so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Up there.
It just moved away from the catheter.
They always move. That's why I do it this way. Beam me up, Scotty.
So like that, it's a very cold-blooded thing that that vacuum, whatever it is, they're trying to kill the child, and that poor fellow is trying to run away, but somehow that vacuum that catches him, and so only due to not mm, following the Vedic directions, people are engaging in such agaha, and their whole life is filled with sins, and therefore their life, Lord Krishna is telling, is in vain. So, so better to control the sense desires by strongly chanting. Otherwise, we will commit so many sinful activities which the modern people are doing, and their life is in vain. Their life is waste. Therefore, Prabhupada told that they're living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. Yeah. Okay. तस्मादासक्त सततम कार्य कर्म समाचरः आसक्तो हि आचरण कर्म परम आपनोति पुरुषः. तस्मात्, therefore, Arjun, you have no need whether to not even to perform a duty. Asakta satatam, without being attached. Karya karmam, do your activity. If one does activity by being detached, then he can attain Supreme Lord. So Krishna is repeatedly telling her, don't give up duty, but do duty without being attached. Don't give up duty, you cannot give up duty. Do duty without being attached. Yes. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activity, one should act as a matter of duty. For working without attachment, one attains the Supreme. So Krishna, now Arjun may ask, are there any examples, somebody who have done like that? Karmaneva hi samsiddhim astha janakadaya lok sangraham evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. Karmaneva hi, by working, some siddhi or the knowledge of the soul, the Supreme Lord is attained by people such as Janak, kings such as saintly kings such as Janak. Lok sangraha evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. You should now, Arjun, because you're an elevated person, you should worry about what people, you should worry to, so that people may not go in the wrong direction. It's like one rickshaw puller is outside the home of a big film star. Say, this film star, he's smoking. I can also smoke. What is the problem? By smoking, he has become such a great man. I will also smoke. Not that he has become great man by smoking, but because he's in a great position and he's doing such wrong activities, and therefore he is not setting good example for others. So even if you are self-realized, Arjuna, but you work so as to teach the population, you have then even, that means if you are a leader, you have even bigger responsibilities to set good example for others also. You cannot say I am isolated in this universe. Kings such as Janak attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Kings like Janak were all self-realized souls. Consequently, they had no obligation to perform prescribed duties in the Vedas. Nonetheless, they performed all prescribed activities just to set example for people in general. Experienced persons in Krishna consciousness can act in such a way that others will follow, and this is explained in the following verse. यद यद आचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेव तरोजना स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तद अनुवर्तति. So the people who are not intelligent, they just look for the leader. Most people are like that. They are not intelligent. Just look for the leader. Yad yad acharati shrishta. A respectable person, whatever achar he does, tattadeva itaraha. Those who are not shrishta, those who are not leaders, those who are common people, they just copy him. Sayat pramanam kurte. Whatever example he sets, lokastad anuvartati. The people follow. So this Krishna is bringing here this point is, please don't think you are isolated in this world. Eyes are on you. You are associated with many people and you have to become a good example. The society can be judged by various means, various ways, but most prominently, one of the important factors to judge the society is whom the society glorifies as the leaders, whom the society considers as the leaders. Earlier times, even 50 years ago, the leaders were like political, or they had some moral background. Like Gandhiji was called Mahatma. He had some good qualities, and he was the leader of the people. And that Subhash Chandra Bose sacrificed him. So like that, people had some good leaders. But nowadays, the leaders are reduced to very infamous characters, film stars, and sports stars, and business magnates, in the ultimate heroes. And short term, maybe those who are having little more whatever placements, or so they are our heroes. So these heroes are like very pathetic heroes. The film star is reduced to one-dimensional character who is just going around beating people and having so many affairs with women, and that is what modern people, they get 55 million views, 155 million views. So they are the leaders and they catch attention of the entire public. So you can imagine what's going on in the society. It's in chaos. Therefore, so many abortions are happening, so many suicides are happening, because these leaders, they are setting the example. And these film heroes and then film heroines, the actresses, they dress in scanty clothes and very shameless clothes. And then other women, they think that, okay, this is what we are supposed to do. And the whole society is following like that. The mass upgradation or degradation, you can say, in the overall culture of the modern people. And not only like they are following, but this grossly they are following, but subtly also these the people are affected. So when in movies some very shameless scene is there, heroine is very scanty dress, some performing some very objectionable actions, censor actions, and the it is glamorized as bold scenes. So very shameless scenes is glamorized as bold. So who does not want to become bold? So modern down the line, those who are the viewers, the ordinary girls and women, they think, okay, this is to becoming shameless means to become bold. Don't worry, just in very near future, it may the time may come, if somebody is wearing clothes nicely, he's well dressed, they will call him cowardly. So wearing clothes in nice way will be called cowardly after some. This is a very great predicament in the society. The leaders which we have, many cricketers, they are promoting this online gambling games, and then because of that also so many people are suffering. So the society is chaos, and therefore Lord Krishna is telling Arjun that whatever example a leader sets, common people will follow. This verse is, however, not to criticize the temple president or the whosoever the voice base in charge or counselor or whosoever. Oh yes, leader. He has to be hanged. This fellow is not doing like this. He's not doing like this. That is not for this verse is not a license to criticize our leaders. On the contrary, we should understand that all of us are in some way leader. Manushyanam sahasresu. One who becomes a devotee, the whole world is looking at. We all are leader, and it is our great responsibility to behave in exemplary way, so that people can learn what a person who is actually God consciousness or who can go closer to the God, those qualities they should see in you. That Krishna is telling his devotee Arjun, and through Arjun, Krishna is telling to all of his other devotees, all of you and me. We also have to become exemplary. We should not act in such a way that creates confusion for others, especially if we are in a leadership position. We have to be very careful of what we speak, what we behave. Yes. Whatever action a great man performs, the common will follow. Whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. So Prabhupada's standing order is there, Amar Agya Guru Hayya Tare Desh. But before becoming Guru, Prabhupada said first भारत भूमि तहिले मनुष्य जन्मजार जन्म सार्थक करी कर पर उपकार. Therefore, always remember that there is a very dynamic tension between the Jan Sarthak and the Parupkar. Jan Sarthak is always before the Parupkar. Okay, so don't simply go in one direction after Parupkar, not worrying about Jan Sarthak. Jan Sarthak is very important consideration. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principle of Shastra, teach the common man. All such natural leaders have great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with the standard books of moral and spiritual codes. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. Now, Krishna is giving his own example. First, he gave example of Janak, and then he said the people follow leaders. And Partha, you see me. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. Krishna is not directly told about him being God till now, but he is giving here indirect hint. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu. I have no duty to perform. To demigods. Why? Because the demigods are coming from me only. I am giving them power. I have no duty to perform in this world. Nana avaptam avaptavyam. O son of Partha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems. Nor I am in want of anything. Nana avaptavyam apta kama. I don't want anything. I am satisfied in myself. And yes, to atmarati revshat. I am atmarati. Nor I don't need anything from anyone. By my simply willing, I get everything. Yet I am engaged in varta eva cha karmani. Still I am doing. Why am I doing? Loka sangraha. Just to set a good example for people I am acting. So you should follow my example. You follow Janak. He was in the Surya Vamsh. You are in Chandra Vamsh. You follow Janak, follow kings. Supreme Personality of Godhead described in the Vedic literatures as follows: Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram, Tam Devatanam Paramam Cha Devatam, Patim Patinam Paramam Parastat, Vidama Devam Bhuvanesham Vidyam, Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate, Natas Samacha Vikadascha Drishyate, Parasya Saktir Vividaya Vishruyate, Subhavaki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. Tam Ishwaranam, among the controllers, he is the top Maha Ishwar. Among Devas, he is Param Devaha. Those who are the masters, he is the master of even the masters. he is beyond the material world, and Bhuvanesham, he is the master of this earth. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. There is no work prescribed for him. Na tas sama abhikadeshchit. No one is equal to him or superior to him. That means everyone is below him. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaya Shruti. He has multifarious energies, and they somehow they just perform automatically all the activities in the mind, Jnanaha, Balaha, all the physical strength and activities due to that mind and body. Since everything is in full opulence in the personality of Godhead and existing in full truth, there is no duty for the Supreme Lord. Yet Lord Krishna is engaged in the battlefield as the leader of the Kshatriyas. Because, why is he engaged in the battlefield? Because Arjun, I want to establish Dharma. I want to give protection to the weak. These gurus, they have exploited the weak. They brought the weak Draupadi Devi in the Guru assembly, and therefore they are not worthy protectors. They will be destroyed. Therefore, I am here. Although he has all the regulations of the revealed scriptures, he does not do anything that violates the revealed scriptures. Yadi yam na varteta varteyam jatu karman atindritah mama vartmanu vartanti manushya partha sarvashah. If yadi hi aham na varteyam, if I do not perform the prescribed activities, atindritah, with great care or without any laziness, everyone will follow my example. Mama vartmanu vartanti manushya partha. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully perform prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. In order to keep the balance of social tranquility for progress in spiritual life, there are traditional family uses meant for every civilized man. Although such rules are for the conditioned souls and not Lord Krishna, because he descended to establish the principles of Dharma, he followed prescribed rules. Like he arranged for the marriage of his sons. He would give in charity. He would rise every day early morning. He would chant Gayatri. He would meditate. All the duties of a householder, taking care of sons, taking care of daughters, taking care of as a king, taking care of Dwarka Vasis, everything he was doing. Whatever it takes to properly take care of every citizen as a king, as a husband, all his duties he was as a father, all his duties he was taking care very nicely. Otherwise, common man would follow in his footsteps because he is the greatest authority. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that Lord Krishna performing all the religious duties at home and out of home as required of a householder. So here, one thing he said here is that one time Narad Muni visited Dwarka. So when Narad Muni visited Dwarka, he went to different palaces. And there Krishna was like doing different things. Some places he was like taking lunch. Some places he was arranging for the marriage of his son. Some places he was giving in charity. Some places. So, and not that Krishna was following Narad Muni. Like Narad Muni was going from one place to another, so Krishna was also coming with him. Not like that. He was totally into different activities. So Krishna is not restricted by space. This is one thing mentioned here. Another thing mentioned here is that the timings are also different. When Narad went somewhere there was sunrise, somewhere there was sunset, somewhere there was noon time. So Krishna is about time also. He can adjust time also. He can adjust space also according to his will. Vrindavan, like if you go here physically, if you try to 84 course, they say whatever, 164 kilometer square, whatever it is, not very big. There are billions of Brajvasis. So the entire universe can fit inside Vrindavan. That's perfectly possible for Krishna to anything. He's beyond space and beyond time. Still he's saying, I am performing my duties very carefully. उत्सीदेदुर इमे लोका न कुर्यात् कर्म चेदहम संकरस्य च कर्तास्याम upahanyam imam praja. Krishna is just turning the arguments again. Arjun said, if I fight, it will create Varnashankar. Krishna is saying, no, Arjun, if you don't fight, Varnashankar will come. You are religious king. You are dharmic person, everyone knows. And you are ready to fight with the other means. So all religious people will follow in your footsteps, and they will stop fighting whenever there is with other means. And therefore, because the dharma people will not fight, dharma will naturally rule, and then Varna Shankar will be created. Varna Shankar will not be created when Yudhishthir is the king. He will maintain everyone very properly. Varna Shankar will be created when dharmic people like Yudhishthir will go to forest, and people like Duryodhana will rule, and they have already exploited Draupadi Devi in the middle of everyone. They will exploit everyone. Then Varna Shankar will be created. Krishna is just turning the 180-degree argument to Arjuna. We will discuss this verse more, 24, in the next time. It's got so many more things. So yes, thank you devotees for a wonderful time. Any question if anyone would like to ask? Time is up. Anyways, you can leave if you want. Any question, anyone? Okay. So fine. Thank you so much for your wonderful time. Let's stop here. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। वैष्णव ठाकुर